You are listening to the story at Manga Explained 2, where your Ike will always be respected. Hope you enjoy listening to the story. Summary. Following the previous chapter, after an agonizingly long wait for the candidates, the results of the civil and martial examinations were finally posted. Everyone was certain that Chu Hongbing would dominate the top spot, while Shen Lang's ragtag group of cripples and beggars would face a humiliating defeat. However, life is not a dream. When the golden list was revealed, Chu Hongbing was disappointingly in second place, while the top position, the champion, had fallen into the hands of Madman Lan. Furthermore, all 10 of Shen Lang's Begar followers were officially on the list. What did this mean? It meant a complete, overwhelming victory for Shen Lang. It was such a crushing win that those who had previously mocked him now had to eat their own words. What were they waiting for? Swallow it down, while it's hot. Ha ha. But, still bitter and unwilling to shut up, the hunting dog stubbornly continued to protest, accusing Shen Lang of cheating. They were determined to drag out so-called justice for Chu Hongbing. In an instant, the entire capital erupted like a chaotic market. From high-ranking officials to lowly soldiers, rumors spread like wildfire. Even the officials in the imperial court jumped in on the gossip, collectively recommending Marquis Chu to step forward and present a petition, vowing to demand that the king resolve the matter decisively. Marquis Chu stepped forward and declared, "Your Majesty, this servant has a report." The king replied, "Proceed." Immediately, Marquis Chu spoke loudly, "Someone has dared to spread rumors that the special grace civil and martial examinations have disrupted order. I have investigated thoroughly and found these to be baseless rumors, merely the work of a few sore losers trying to stir up trouble among the failed candidates. I implore your Majesty to issue a decree to punish them severely." As he finished speaking, the entire court held its breath. The atmosphere was as heavy as lead. Someone, startled, blurted out, "Sir, what is the meaning of this?" King Min Yuanxian slowly asked, "So, in your opinion, how should we handle this?" Marquis Chu smiled. "We must strike with one clean cut. Anyone who dares to cause chaos should be executed or permanently stripped of their titles, perhaps even exiled. But for the majority of the candidates, a small scare will suffice." This sudden reversal from Marquis Chu left the court officials dumbfounded. All eyes were now on him. Although no one spoke, the tension was palpable. They could only wonder, what is Marquis Chu trying to do? Shouldn't he be standing up for the scholars of the realm? From his throne, King Min Yuanxian laughed heartily. "An elder in the house is a treasure. Marquis, you are truly a veteran of our nation. We shall follow your counsel." He then turned to the other officials. "Does anyone else have a different opinion?" Trembling and sweating, the high ministers looked at each other in confusion. Did Marquis Chu already discuss this with the king? Luckily, we didn't step forward first, or the consequences would have been dire. Immediately, they all bowed in unison. "Your Majesty is wise. We are in agreement." The king nodded, his gaze sharp. "The Marquis agrees. Who else dares to object?" Soon after, the third prince, Ningkai, was given the important task of quelling the unrest. "Ningkai, you are the central commander of Tianyu. This matter is yours to handle." Ningkai clasped his hands and replied, "The son obeys the decree." Not stopping there, the king surprisingly turned and said, "Ningjiang, you will accompany your third brother to carry out this command." Without hesitation, Ningjiang clasped his hands and replied, "The son obeys the decree." But the entire court was stunned into silence. That useless prince was now being given a royal command. The petty officials whispered unhappily, "Why is His Majesty indulging him? Shen Lang is clearly the one who caused this mess. Not only is he not being punished, but he's being given face." Standing beside them, Ningqi frowned, slightly annoyed. He thought to himself, "Father is using Ningjiang to vent frustration on Shen Lang's behalf. He truly values him." This chaos was clearly caused by Shen Lang. Yet not only does he avoid punishment, but the king helps him vent his anger. How infuriating. The king continued, "Lian, you will also lead the imperial guards to clean this up. Afterward, publish the examination paper of Lan Feng. And no, Madman Lan, for the world to see, so they know there was no cheating." Commander Li clasped his hands to receive the order. This servant obeys. With the military order given, Lian led the imperial guards out. An hour later, the central commander's office mobilized a large force, heading straight for the city temple. Ningkai was responsible for managing the disqualified candidates, while Ningjian was tasked with suppressing the local ruffians. He immediately drew up a list of over 1,000 names, all the people who had made bets with him, and then went back on their word. Following the king's directive, the guards, like a pack of wolves, stormed into each house, dragging out all the scoundrels. They were taken to a desolate field on the outskirts of the city. Shen Lang strolled out, as relaxed as a restaurant owner dealing with indebted customers. The ruffians knelt, tears and snot streaming down their faces, crying and begging for release. He pinched his nose and nonchalantly pointed to a massive cesspit in front of them. If you want to live, jump in there. If you can soak for half an hour without dying from the stench, I'll let you go. One by one, they were driven into the cesspit. The entire wasteland reeked so strongly it could make the heavens faint. Like chickens falling into a pond, the thugs flailed their arms and legs desperately, the foul odor rising to the sky. The scene was so horrific that even those with nerves of steel had to turn away. Meanwhile, the uproar at the Saint Temple, which had spread through the capital like an earthquake, was completely quelled within 2 hours. Everything was swept clean, as neat as an autumn wind clearing fallen leaves. 1,000 candidates vanished without a trace, leaving only blood, trash, and the lingering, nauseating smell of feces around the temple. The scholars were forced to calm down, and upon seeing Madman Lan's examination paper, they were even more shocked. Was this really written by that madman? Impossible. But this paper truly deserves the top rank. Keep your voice down. Even if he cheated, he couldn't have written like this. In the end, 19 people were stripped of their official titles. 135 people were permanently banned from taking the exams, and 1,500 were barred from the next session. Finally, the king issued a decree: the special civil and martial examinations were fair, and order was not disturbed. The results were effective, and all examiners were rewarded. After reading this, Commander Lee thought to himself, Madman Lan didn't cheat at all and wrote a masterpiece. Those who caused trouble truly brought death upon themselves. From then on, the storm completely subsided. But that was only the beginning. Just as Shen Lang was feeling pleased with himself, Jiang Cheng suddenly left the capital to take up the post of vice mayoral in Yan province. Upon learning this, Shen Shizhen immediately reported it to Shen Lang. Shen Lang was shocked. He was saying Marquis Chu recommended him. Jiang Cheng was no longer part of the Chu faction. He was even considered a traitor to the crown prince. Just as he was about to side with Ning Jing, Marquis Chu recommended him for this position. Shen Lang thought, I saved his life, and Marquis Chu spared his life and promoted him. Jiang Cheng could hardly refuse, and if he did, he would be completely crushed. He had no other choice. Once he accepts the position, he separates himself from us and becomes neutral. This is the masterful hand of Marquis Chu. He had completely cut off Jiang Cheng's path to joining Ning Jing and Shen Lang's faction. It was a move without swords or fire, yet it completely locked down a political lifeline. This prime minister was truly a cunning old fox. Shen Lang's original plan was to desperately protect Jiang Cheng in front of the king when the crown prince attacked him. Then he would have Ning Jing ask his consort from the Bian family to have Duke Bian Xiao of Weiwu submit a memorial to appoint Jiang Cheng to the position in Yan province. This way, both saving his life and promoting him would be a gift from Ning Jing. Jiang Cheng would then naturally become his man. However, Marquis Chu had blocked this move with an unstoppable and uncounterable tactic. The old are indeed wiser and more skillful. The king seemed to know of the dissatisfaction in Shen Lang's heart. The next day, he officially appointed Madman Lan as the master of records for the Marquis of Changping's estate and appointed Zhu Yishan as 1,000 household commander of the Marquis of Changping. Lan Yi, Lan Er, all the way to Lan Shi, were all appointed as 1,000 household commanders of the Marquis of Changping. At this point, Ning Jing's estate was formally established, its power as firm as a mountain. At the crown prince's residence, Ning Qi summoned Shuo Zhuoyan and asked, Have you investigated clearly? Shuo Zhuoyan knelt before him and replied, It is clear. Madman Lan and the other 10 all possess special bloodlines. Shen Lang helped them activate their bloodlines, thereby restoring their strength and revealing their talents in the martial examination. However, we cannot use this to suppress him, because after the Shuo clan was exterminated, the Great Yan Empire pardoned them. Even the inner minister was pardoned. He continued, Could it be that the Emperor of Great Yan has truly let it go? Shuo Zhuoyan said, Actually, there was supernatural intervention. It's not that simple. The Lan clan originally had the bloodline of Jiang Li and was once hunted. But after the Chuo clan's destruction, they were forgiven. All because of one person, Princess Ning Han. She, along with a prince of Great Yan, was studying ancient texts at the Sky Sea Pavilion. That prince once said, This is someone with a special bloodline. Their power is not guided, so their body is deformed. Because of that one sentence, the entire Shuo clan was annihilated. And with a single careless remark from Princess Ning Han, a whole series of special bloodline holders were forced to flee. Those who couldn't escape in time met their demise. Later she sought out her teacher, Sai Zi, who then introduced her to the masters of the sacred organizations. A nod, a glance, was enough for them to collectively accept the special bloodline holders as nominal disciples. From then on, the Emperor of Great Yan had to issue an official decree clearing their names. The destruction of the Chu clan was because of a single sentence from Ninghan, and their restoration was also thanks to a single sentence from her. When Zhuo Tuoyan learned the truth, her heart shattered. Her once glorious clan's demise wasn't due to some grand conspiracy, they were simply crushed like a colony of ants by accident. A careless footstep, and the entire Chuo clan turned to dust. The foot lifted, saw a few surviving ants, and mercifully granted them a favor. From that moment on, Zhuo Tuoyan no longer dared to dream of revenge. She only wanted to desperately climb out of the mud, for she had seen with her own eyes how cruel the supreme power in this world was. Among the children of King Ning Yuanxian, only one truly held power, Princess Ninghan. Although she had never appeared publicly, Ninghan was the heir apparent to the masters who set the rules for the world. After the Zhuo clan was exterminated, Zhuo Tuoyan fell into an abyss, even lower than a servant. Yet, thanks to a sincere apology from Princess Ninghan, she was lifted from hell straight to heaven. It is said that when one person achieves enlightenment, even their chickens and dogs ascend to heaven. Zhuo Tuoyan was the ant that landed on the princess's wing, and was carried up into the clouds. She became a representative of the Hidden Yuan Association, and was even made the nominal concubine of Crown Prince Ningkai. In the eyes of the people of the Yu Kingdom, there was a heaven-shaking power struggle, but in Zhuo Tuoyan's eyes, Ningkai and Ninghan were biological siblings, with Empress Chu as their mother. With the colossal monster, the Zhu clan, behind them, and Princess Ninghan, who sat above the clouds, the crown prince's position was as stable as Mount Tai. No one could shake it, not even the king. When someone in the crown prince's residence suggested taking the opportunity to suppress Shen Lang and his group of special bloodline holders, Zhuo Tuoyan coldly said, "If you want to die, go ahead and try." That group was protected by the emperor and the sacred organizations. No one dared to touch them. At this moment, Ningkai thought to himself, Shen Lang has the devil's luck, not only finding Madman Lan but also 10 special bloodline holders. But the crown prince suddenly sneered, "Zhuo Tuoyan, didn't you kill Ku Tuhuan? Why is he still alive?" Hearing this, her face turned deathly pale. She had seen with her own eyes Ku Tuhuan being poisoned by the Fuji Mountain poison, and his chest pierced. He should have died, yet now he had reappeared as a 1,000 household commander under the Marquis of Chengping, even taking off his mask in public. She trembled and kowtowed. The servant was wrong. The crown prince said nothing, only walked over and coldly squeezed her neck, pinning her against the wall. Then, he pulled a hairpin from her bun. Without any wasted motion, Ninki stabbed the pin straight into her chest. Her beautiful peaks were pierced, only half an inch from her heart. He pulled it out and coldly stabbed her again in the lung. Blood gushed up her throat, and Zhuo Tuoyan coughed violently but still forced herself to swallow it back, not daring to spit out a single drop. Ninkai, boiling with rage, gritted out, "If it weren't for you, Ku Tuhuan wouldn't have joined them, and those 10 begars wouldn't have been taught by him." With that, he let go, and Zhuo Tuoyan fell with a thud to the cold floor. Ninki continued, "The great bandit Ku Tuhuan's crimes are heinous. My father once issued a decree for his capture. Now that he is hiding in my 5th brother's estate, he is a great disaster. Order the Tianyu Central Commander's office to join forces with the Grand Court of Revision to go to Ningzhen's estate and arrest the criminal Ku Tuhuan. If he resists, kill him on the spot." In the royal palace, King Ning Yuanxian summoned Shen Lang after the bet was settled. Ning Yuanxian said, "You are truly audacious, but also very lucky to have found 10 special bloodline holders. I don't want to say much about this. The ban was lifted long ago, and now princes all over the Great Yan are recruiting them. But what about the bet between you and me? If those 10 people all made it onto the golden list, I would grant you 2,000 elite troops." Shen Lang clasped his hands and calmly replied, "Your Majesty, it is not a grant to me, but to His Highness Ningzheng." Ning Yuanxian paused, his brow furrowed tightly. He didn't want to mention Ningzheng, but the bet was made, and he had to swallow his loss. In the end, he could only say through gritted teeth, "You have won. I have promised, and I will certainly do it. Speak, which army do you want? The Imperial Guard, or the border troops?" Shen Lang shook his head and replied directly, "Your Majesty, I want to recruit them myself." Ning Yuanxian was startled. "Recruit them yourself? You mean you want to head up a recruitment stall like last time?" Shen Lang nodded, his eyes shining brightly. "That's right. I want to use great rewards to recruit an unprecedented army. In the shortest possible time, I will train an invincible force that will make the enemy tremble at the mere mention of its name on any battlefield." The king scoffed, his eyes filled with disdain. "You braggart. Do you think training soldiers is a matter of a few days or months? Your success last time was due to 11 special bloodline holders, but there are fewer and fewer of them in this world. Are you planning to build the strongest army from scratch? A pipe dream." Then he waved his hand dismissively. "Stop being delusional. I will give you 1,000 imperial guards and 1,000 border troops. That's it, no more words." Chen Lang remained steadfast. "Your Majesty, 4 months. At most 4 months, but I will turn them into the strongest army in the Yu Kingdom. These 2,000 new soldiers, I will train them into an army capable of fighting 2 against 5, 1 against 10,000. 2,000 men who can defeat 4,000, even 8,000, or 10,000. When that time comes, I invite your Majesty to inspect them. Your Majesty, the King of Chu is allied with the ruler of the southern kingdom. He will certainly not yield at the negotiating table. But we in the Chu Kingdom cannot have a major war. Therefore, your Majesty needs to organize a border hunt.